Movement tips and lifestyle hacks brought to you by FitLabPGH. Movement, a part of making your life complete. FitLabPGH is back with another movement tip and lifestyle hack. We're going to talk a little bit about running shoes today. What we want to make sure that you do is have a little bit of knowledge before you go to your local running shoe store, so when the running shoe store owner starts to talk to you, or the guy working behind the counter starts talking to you, you have some sort of an idea what he's talking about. What we have here is we have a couple of different types of running shoes. We have right here a minimalist shoe, which we'll talk about in just a second. We have here a Hoka, which is probably about the opposite of a minimalist shoe. It's very, very cushioned. We have kind of a standard road or on-road running shoe here, and we have two pairs of trail running shoes. FitLabPGH doesn't recommend that beginning runners or people who are not experienced runners use minimalist shoes. These are shoes with very little cushioning, and you may hear people talk about zero drop shoes. What that means is the heel is the same height as the forefoot. Most running shoes that you buy, the heel is a little bit higher than the forefoot. You can look in the running stores or the running shoe magazines or online and find the difference in different pairs of shoes. But generally, minimalist shoes are going to have the same height between the heel and the forefoot. If you have calves or Achilles tendons that are relatively short or not used to this can put some strain on it, and the lack of cushioning in the shoe can be problematic too. The exact opposite of the minimalist shoe is a shoe like the Hoka. Altra also makes a model called the Olympus. These are very, very cushioned. Experienced runners may refer to this as it almost feels like you're running on pillows. These are an interesting shoe to run in. I've run in them for about the last 6 months on and off. I kind of like it when my legs are tired, but for an everyday running shoe, it's probably not something you want. Again, these are for on-road running. Because they have a lot of cushioning and you're kind of up in the air a little bit, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to run with them off-road because you're going to feel like you're up in the air. This is more of the lines of a standard on-road running shoe. This is actually an Altra. I told you a few minutes ago that most running shoes have a drop in that the heel is higher than the forefoot. Altra is a company where it's a little bit different. It's a zero drop shoe in that the heel and the forefoot are at the same height, so the heel isn't elevated. But unlike the typical or more common minimalist shoe, the Altras actually have cushioning. The other thing that's really nice about Altras is if you're somebody who has bunions or really wide forefeet or a really wide forefoot, the Altra has a very wide toe box. I'm somebody who is an E to a double E width, and when I first found the Altras, I realized that this was a shoe that really worked well for me. They have a number of different models. Their most lightweight shoes don't work well for me, but their middle-of-the-line shoes work for me, and I really enjoy running in them. But it's something you can try it. It's got the advantage of a nice wide toe box. We've got a couple of pairs of trail shoes right here. What I want you to focus on with the trail shoes as far as the difference is, number one, right here is the road shoe. Notice the sole is relatively smooth. The trail shoe is more blocky. It's got some tread on it. I can tell you a few months ago I was in Arizona and I climbed Camelback and I climbed into my road shoes, and I would recommend for something like that, I wish I'd had a little bit more grip. The trail shoe probably doesn't have generally quite as much cushioning as a road shoe. It may set your foot a little closer to the ground so that if you step on sticks or rocks or step in a small hole, you're less likely to turn your ankle. And a lot of trail shoes, the mesh on the front is a little bit more closed in so that dust and dirt doesn't get in. The trail shoe is a really, really nice shoe if you're going to run on trails. It may be overkill if you do something like running on the Montour Trail, but it might not be. Definitely if you get on some of the trails in South Park or North Park, a trail shoe with the tread is nice to have. It doesn't mean that you can't run on the trails with a road shoe. You just may find that running on trails with road shoes, you do a little bit more slipping. That's another movement tip and lifestyle hack from FitLabPGH, just to give you a starting point or an idea of what you might be looking for when you're looking for your next pair of running shoes. 3 times a week, FitLabPGH brings you a movement tip or lifestyle hack. Thanks to the Pilates Body for providing us a locale for filming.